Let's ask the community.
Hey, Equity Mate.
I just had a question.
Hey, Bryce, I've got a question.
Answered.
If you would like to submit a question, head to equitymates.com/contact, just like Tommy did. So this question from Tommy. Hey guys, question regarding dividend reinvestment plans. When the dividend is insufficient to buy another unit of a share or ETF, the money appears to be untouchable until it reaches that threshold. Other than investment fees, it seems to me like it would be better to not have a dividend reinvestment plan, claim the additional interest when it's in the bank, and then invest in ETFs of my choice. Where do we stand on this? So,
Let's do it.
let's do it.
Well, I think before we get into where we stand, let's do dividend reinvestment plans 101. So what is it? As the name suggests, it's a plan that allows you to reinvest your dividends.
Explain DRP without saying DRP.
So essentially, let's say you own BHP.
Yeah.
They pay a healthy dividend. You can take that dividend in cash, or you can ask BHP to reinvest that in more BHP shares. Now, there are a number of reasons why people like to do it. The main one is it's like truly set and forget, reinvest without me having to worry about it. It's important to stress that there is no tax benefit. You still pay tax on the dividends either way. But yeah, it's automatic. It boosts your returns. It's cost efficient, I guess, in the sense that there's no brokerage fees. So that's good.
Mm-hmm.
So there are some reasons why people really like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get out of your own way. You can kind of DCA into it. I think something to keep in mind is what Tommy did say, that it only happens if you have the adequate amount to reinvest back in. So if BHP pays you a dividend of $20, but the share is 25, you'll need to wait until the next quarter when it pays, or whatever frequency it is, to actually buy a stock. And so then in that instance, that $20 sits in your share registry, waiting for the next round to come along.
And what happens if you sell the shares and there's like a money left over in the registry?
So it depends is the short answer. AMP, for example, if you have any residue after selling, they will donate it to charity. Wesfarmers, Westpac, they pay it out. So I think you really just need to read T's and C's when you're setting up DRP.
Yeah, you do certainly need to. And we don't mean to call AMP out there, but their SEO is so good that was the first company we found.
Yes.
So that's one reason you wouldn't do it, because if you sell, you might leave some of your dividends on the table. You still will have paid tax on them when you got paid them. A couple of other reasons why people don't like to do it. A lack of control. You can't control the price that you pay, the timing of it, the size of it. It's just automatic. The concentration risk, like if you're constantly reinvesting dividends into big dividend paying stocks, that might become a bigger and bigger percentage of your portfolio when you don't want it to. One that I'm sure you're more attuned with than I am is tracking. You've said it can be annoying to keep track of.
Can be. I now find it super easy to keep track of because ShareSite does it on my behalf.
Not an ad, but go to sharesite.com.au/equitymates and you can sign up.
Yeah, definitely.
So there's some of the reasons why you might not do it. And then that leads to the biggest reason why you might not do it, which is what other opportunities are out there.
Yeah.
You're not getting the choice to invest that money in whatever you think the best opportunity is at that time.
Yeah, and that's what Tommy's kind of referring to when he says it might be a better idea to pull it out in cash, sit it in a cash account until you figure out the next best investment. There's two ways to look at that. It is that if you're really happy with the company or stock that you're invested in, then reinvesting into that, if your thesis still stands, is a great way to build wealth in that. But I guess with every lump of cash that you come into, you always need to question, is this the best thing that I can be doing with that right now? Yeah.
So we'll talk about how we do it personally and address some of those things. But just quickly, if you're interested in setting up your dividend reinvestment plan, the first thing to note is that in Australia right now, not everyone can participate because the way that it's mainly set up is you need a CHESS-sponsored brokerage account.
Yeah.
And then you set up your dividend reinvestment plan through the share registry, not through your broker. Important to stress.
It can be confusing if you're just starting out, but yeah.
Yeah. There's a world where the custodial accounts should just let you do it through your broker.
There is a world where that happens, but I don't know if technically, I don't know the ins and outs of it, but surely there's a button you can press in the future that says, give us, just reinvest it through the brokerage.
Yeah, exactly. Because then it's easier than then you cut the registry out of, then it's an extra step the investors don't need to do.
Just to clarify, it doesn't mean if you have a custodial account, you don't get the dividends. It's just paid
you just get them
in cash into your brokerage account. Bang.
Yeah.
And then you can either reinvest it yourself, you'll have to pay brokerage, or go and do something else with it.
Yes. So let's get to the crux of Tommy's question and answer it ourselves. He asked, wouldn't it be better to not have a DRP on and just claim the money yourself? What do you do?
So I personally don't do it at the moment, and that is because all of my stocks, bar a couple that don't actually pay dividends, are in a custodial account. So I can't. My hands are tied.
Would you if you could?
I would, yeah. The dividends at this stage are not significant enough for me to be like, I'm going to get 5,000 in dividends in one hit, and I'm going to then reinvest that back into a new opportunity. Until that happens, I'm okay for the ETFs that are paying dividends and the companies that are to just keep reinvesting back into it, because I'm still believe in those investments, and as I said, the size isn't huge.
Yeah.
So that's, I believe it's a great way to build wealth. What about yourself?
I don't. I like the idea of having that cash coming into my brokerage account so I can rebalance if I want to. If the Australian ETF has done really well and the European one hasn't, then when those dividends come in, it just gives me the chance to say, where do I need to top up to keep my portfolio weightings pretty similar. But I think the most important thing to stress is that I don't have a propensity to pull that money out of my brokerage account and spend it. If I was so inclined, I would be turning dividend reinvestment plans on as much as possible, because it takes the human intervention out of it, and it just means I'm automating it.
If you're going to turn it off, make sure that the funds are being paid into your investment account, not into your funding account, i.e. your bank account, because that's where there's another added friction of you then needing to transfer from your bank back to your brokerage account. So if you're not going to do it, please just make sure it's going straight into your brokerage account.
Either have a dividend reinvestment plan or have a plan to reinvest your dividends.
Nice. Well, that's a great spot to end. Tommy, I hope we've been able to answer your question. As I said at the top, if you have a question you'd like us to answer, head to equitymates.com/contact.
Equity Mate.
I will say this about investing. Everything you do learn is cumulative. What I learned at 20 is useful.